Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It's a weird day to have a live stream, but we're doing it. And let me know you guys can see me because we had weirdness the other day. So let me say hi to a bunch of people. First of all, Kimber, thank you so much for being a member. Yeah, thank you. So let me say hi to Pamela J. and Violets and Roses, Lucinda, Ann Maria, Katerina, Chuck and Allison. Hi, welcome in, fellow Allison. And good, you guys can see me and hear me. Okay. Cindy and Kai from Valencia. Kai, you travel back and forth a lot from there to Norway, I think, don't you? Hi, James. Welcome. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Donna, Sharon, Texas Rose, Minnie the Chihuahua. I'm sorry. Did you know I love Chihuahuas? I had a Chihuahua as a child. So my favorite dog ever. And I've always wanted one, but can't have one till I ever have like my own little patch of grass somewhere. So anyway, hi, Lorak. Hi, Ciara. Hi, Beata. I'm probably saying your name wrong. Beata, probably. London artist, Patricia, Great Zaza. I'm surprised so many of you could make it on a Tuesday. Thank you, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And Tracy and Bonnie. Hi, John. See you too. Molly Ann and Mike Klein. I think there's some of you that were able to join today that can't join on Saturdays. So that's nice. So I figure, we'll try this out for 2 or 3 weeks and we'll see how it goes. So I just realized I didn't put my little stand up. So my trajectory on my thing is a little different today, but it's like my hand is huge. Look at that. Okay. Linda, thanks for asking. Ohio so far is good. It's a sunny day. I'm looking out at the greenery. The leaves are starting to turn. Hi, B. Winston and Barbara. Hi, Kimberly and HFC. Yes, Liv, I can't do that, by the way. I am like, you either have the ability to do the Vulcan thing, and I can only do it with my pinky. I can't do it with those 2 fingers. So those of you who can do the Vulcan thing, kudos to you. Hi, Lydia. Bonjour. Pinky. Yeah, I can do the pinky Vulcan. That's all I can do. Oh, guys, you're going to see it on my next video, which probably will not be out tomorrow because I was really busy. I spent Sunday afternoon putting together a whole day bed by myself with metal parts for the first time. It's the first time I put something together in about 8 years. And I thought, 70, this is going to be old to do this. And, but I'm very mechanically minded. I've always been able to put things together. I inherited that, I think, from my dad, who was like a gifted engineer. Now, I don't have the same gift he did because I'm not great at like complicated math, but I can mechanically put things together. So I'm thinking that I got that from him. Anyway, I spent most of Sunday afternoon and then a little bit yesterday morning putting my bed together, which had like 500 pieces. Well, not that many, but it seemed like it. And there were times you needed a second person just to hold a piece to do it, to put the little screw thing in and use the Allen wrench and the whole thing. And I didn't have an extra pair of hands. So I MacGyvered stuff. I got things to work. And I put a bed together by myself, age 70. It's one of I have to say, it takes very little to make me happy right now. And that made me happy. So, well, not lately, Katerina. I used to buy from IKEA, but it had just been about 8 years since I'd probably no, maybe 7 since I'd put things together. And I used to buy from IKEA more. So anyway, I up a bit on here, but hopefully it'll rectify itself. Anyway, yeah, and then I got the bed yesterday and I had to, it's one of those you get from Amazon and you have to, cut or take off the outer wrapper and then you have to cut along the sides and the bed blows up and you have to make sure you're not in the way and you don't get crushed by your own bed. But it, it went okay. It went okay. And I did not sleep on the bed last night because I wanted to give it a full, like, 20. Actually, it's going to breathe for about 34 hours, something like that, before I slept on it. So I still slept on the air bed last night. And you see behind me the box. Oh, sorry. Boxes there that belong to the bed and the frame, right? Oh, sorry. I can't point. There we go. Anyway, yes, I know. I know. I tightened it at the end. I mean, I tightened it as I went along, but you never want to tighten it fully till you've completed it because there's things you might have to like adjust. So, yes, I went back and tightened it, but I'm probably going to have to do a little more tightening. I love me an Allen wrench, let me tell you. Anyway, hi, Mary from Ireland. I know, Kay, but I know the difference between now and even 5, 6 years ago. I am not physically the person I was. Let me just put it that way. But I still have the mind to do it. It's- and that was probably the most complicated thing, one of the most complicated things I've ever built, actually, because there were a lot of moving parts on that. And anyway, hi, Debbie from Kentucky. Thanks, Linda, for the congrats. Anyway, so, I have one more thing I'll have to construct a little bit. I have a table coming, the table I'm actually going to do my live streams on, which is better than this portable table. And I will have to put the legs on the bottom of that, which are kind of like in crisscross kind of, it's looks complicated, but it won't be complicated after that bed. Are you kidding me? So anyway, yeah, there you go. HFC says, that you're over the hill when your mind makes a promise your body can't fill. Yeah, little feet. Yeah. Yeah, it's I was a little worried when I ordered that bed and I almost because I was going down the hall to do my laundry in between, like I take little breaks after doing part of the bed on Sunday. And I did almost knock on a neighbor's door. There's a young man that lives across the hall that I met him the first day I was here. Very nice. And I thought, yeah, it's a Sunday afternoon. He's probably home. Like, if I really need an extra pair of hands, I'll knock on his door. But I didn't. I said, you know what? I can do this. I will be showing the bed in my next video, JM. Anyway, the video, back to what I was saying, the video will not be out tomorrow. It'll probably be out Thursday. So I'll put an announcement on my community tab. Uh-oh, old comments went away? They don't think they went away over here. No, they did not. Yeah, but I also don't like to impose on people. I'll do anything to not have to go over there and like ask somebody for help. So, but hopefully I'll chat with him. I'll get to know him a little better as time goes on, and then I won't feel as bad if I occasionally would have to do something like that. Hi, EJ. Oh, really? You haven't been? Oh, because of the time, probably. Yeah, that's fine, EJ. Okay, James, I'm glad you probably want to see. Okay. Now, somebody's being very playful today, so she's going to come in this way. She's being a little scamp today. Yeah, she was not able to help me on the bed. It was all the things I had to do were just too high up for her, but she was a moral support. Yes. Let's see. EJ, you're on medical leave right now. I hope you're okay. Yeah, that's true. Stay tuned. Yeah, I might do that. I've only run into him one other brief time since I've been here, and we just said hi, but he's a very nice young man. In fact, he's a unicyclist, which I find fascinating. And because I've always seen people unicycle all my life, and I always think, how the heck do they do that? And so I told him, I said, you should have a YouTube channel. Like, I'm always trying to, anytime somebody has something that I think like, wow, that would make a really great, niche or something on YouTube. So anyway, I told him if he ever, so I would be willing to trade YouTube tips for occasional muscular help, is all I'm saying. Just- Actually, it wasn't even really muscular help. I just needed an extra pair of hands to put that bed together, basically. So, oh, vegan 3. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. This thing has tremendous support. I mean, if it's a bed that's actually designed for like to support heavy weight. I mean, not that I'm at the top of that weight or anything, but it's basically designed to support, like I think it's up to like 500 pounds or something. Of course, that includes the mattress. So there you go. But the thing is, it's got these metal slat supports, like tons of them on the bottom thing, and it has these extra beams and just, yeah, it was a real construction. Thanks, Joey. Nordic Light, a unicycle has one wheel. It's a bicycle, but one wheel. And so you have pedals next to the wheel, and you have to balance and support yourself. Sierra, I'm not looking to actually join anything right away. I might do something. I really just have to work on my health. You guys, you have no idea what toll this took on me. My lower tummy could tell you. It's not fun. And then of course my blood pressure, which I have to keep up with. And I haven't had another spike. So knock on wood. It's been over a week. And yeah, but I just, right now, I'm not looking to maybe do anything till after the first of the year as far as like significantly. Um, Pamela, I can't do anything. The tooth is fine. I'm not in any discomfort at all. It's just, I can't do anything about it. I'm getting on medical, like I think I talked about on Saturday. I'm getting on Medicare Advantage plan, and it will cover dental. So I should be covered. I gotta knock, God, I'm gonna have a sore head by the time this is over. Anyway, I'm hoping to be on that October 1st, in which case I will get my dental stuff done because they cover me $2,000 for the year, which is only the last really 3 months of this year. So it'll cover that. And I got to get a couple of fillings. I have a chipped tooth that needs to be repaired, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's not. It's a tan color wall, Rhonda, and I like it because the ceiling is white. The carpet is like, a beige, so it's kind of a beige tan wall, which I like. No, the tapestry, well, guys, you'll see one on Saturday. Actually, you might see one for the video Thursday. Um, I actually ordered a new tapestry because they're only like $14. Okay. I ordered a new tapestry on Amazon because I really wanted something that was like fall. I want to see the fall colors, even on my videos the next few months. So I ordered a fall one. I'm going to put my favorite one, the one from New Zealand, that's a picture of New Zealand, on another wall. And then occasionally I will film on that wall. So you guys will see both. But yeah, I just didn't want to arrange anything yet because I'm waiting for the other one to come. Knock on calcium phosphate. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay, exactly. Okay, well, I think what we're gonna do is get into, the topic for today, because I told you on Tuesdays now when I do a live stream, we're gonna have, like, a topic. Now you guys at the end can still ask me some other questions, but, um, yeah, I just thought, it'd be good to have a topic. So today's was starting over. And I really put some thought into this because I actually want to do a full video on it at some point. So this is kind of the precursor to that. So, first of all, I looked at um, a couple of quotes that I really liked about the idea of starting over. One is from one of my favorite authors, poets, English poet, T.S. Eliot. You guys probably know T.S. Eliot. And he said, "What we call a new beginning is often the end. And to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from." So basically, what he's saying there is you have to have something that ends in some way. Now, you could choose the end, or the end could be chosen for you, but you make an end, and then um, that's where we make a beginning, basically. So sometimes it's forced upon us, sometimes we do it ourselves. This time I did it myself. I mean, this particular starting over in my life was because um, I chose to go to Europe. No, did not knowing exactly how long I would be over there. And then I knew that, when I came back, I knew I needed to have something really different. I needed a different situation to live in. I knew I didn't want to go back. I think I've talked about that before on my channel. Unless you have, like, family or somebody you're really attached to in a deep way and you want to be near them, I don't really believe in going back to the same place I've been before. And I think that's a lot because of my childhood and growing up and being, an army brat. And we always moved around, and that seems normal to me. We didn't ever go back we actually went back to the same place once, to not the same uh, house, but we went to the same, like, army base once. But anyway, so I like that quote, and then I also like this other one from George Eliot, another one of my very favorite authors from writers from England, George Eliot, who said, "It's never too late to be what you might have been." So, to me, a lot of people, tend to give up as they get older. Like, they think, "Oh, I'm too." I remember my mom saying something really profound to me one time, and she said, um, we were talking, I think I was in graduate school for psychology or something, and I said, "You can always change, mom, as long as your mind is, active. In other words, you don't have dementia, like, your mind is good, and your will is there. You can always change something about yourself." And then at the time when I said that to her, she was probably in her 70s. And she said, "Oh, I'm too old to change." And I think that is a mindset. So when I think of the concept of starting over, a lot of times when people get older, they don't think they can start over. And this time, oh, I'm glad you guys are chiming in. Yes, Deb, I do get silver sneakers if I'm on this plan. So yes. So Una's saying sometimes in life we take a risk on new beginnings. You're about to change jobs, scary and exciting. But yes, but the thing is, my thing, and what I thought when my mother said that to me was that, yeah, but you're still living. Like, as long as you're still drawing breath and your mind still works, why wouldn't you want to enhance something about your existence? Like, something about maybe your habits, or your, something about your personality. Thank you so much, Holland Jim. Very kind of you. I like the emoji. And anyway, why wouldn't you want to do that? That's what I've never understood, and I know that that's probably the therapist in me, because being a therapist, it's kind of like, I don't understand why people don't want to work on something and make something better in their lives. I've never understood that. Never understood that. I've spent my whole life on a quest to do that. Now, I haven't always succeeded, not at all. I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm fully aware of that. But I just feel like, what I'm sad about with my mother, and I think I've shared this before, is that my mother had so much potential. She was she wasn't like, she'd never gotten a lot of education, but she was smart and she was funny and she was witty and she had great common sense, and she could have done so much in her life, but she got in her own way. She fell prey to addiction, which a lot of people do, including me. I had that problem with gambling, but she had it with alcohol. And so, oh, Lawrence, thank you very much. That's so kind of you. But anyway, she had it with alcohol. And so that was the downhill for her. But even before then, she didn't use her potential in life, and I watched her do that. And then, even though she lived to be 90 years old, the last 25 years of her life were just nothing. Just nothing. And I vowed I would never do that. I vowed I would never do that. That as long as I was mentally sharp, as long as I had some physical capability to do something, I was going to push the envelope, which is what I'm doing. That's what I did this year. And some people think I'm an idiot. Some people think I made a mistake. But you gotta do that to start over sometimes. You have to make a new beginning in a scary, scary way sometimes. Kimber says that her mom was the same way and she lived to 90 as well. I know. And she was so sad. I don't know about your mom, but it's like, gosh, it was so sad. Oh, thank you, Lawrence, again. Yes, thank you. That certainly helps, because I do have to get some things for the bed. Chuck and Allison say, we all have a book of life, and each new experience, move, place is a new chapter in your book of life. I still have a few chapters left. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, again, now if somebody has tremendous physical disabilities, but I mean, even then, even when you're bed bound or chair bound or whatever, there's things you can do to enhance your reality. Okay. There are things you can do to challenge your mind. Now, if someone has dementia, that's a different story. I think that's really hard. I don't think there's much, because that's such a progressive disease in most cases, that then I understand. I totally get that. But my mother didn't have dementia. That's what I find just so heartbreaking about it. That she was fully aware and her mind was fine until she died. And she knew she lived in this little self-imposed bubble, I guess I'd call it. So anyway, James, thanks for the cookies. um, yes, can't get to the Meowser says can't get to the next chapter until you turn the page. Yeah. Well, Texas BK, I did go through a broker here, like an insurance person, that they pointed out the best plan for where I was. I didn't just choose it myself. I actually went to someone local who basically could do that. So, yeah. And again, Una, like your mom with Parkinson's based dementia, that's, then people just have to do the best they can. And obviously the family, the family members are the ones who really feel that. But unless you have a case like that with dementia, I think that most people can do something positive to change their circumstance, even if it's just mentally, learning something new. Um, Like for me, even if I had done nothing else, then learn guitar 5 years ago. Well, relearn it technically because I learned it as a child. But you know, a lot of people would say, "Oh, you're 65 years old. That's too old to learn like how to play music." No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. So, there you go. So, I'm not done on this. Let me ask you guys some questions. Oh, let me answer Texas Rose's question first of all. No, my mom stopped drinking at 83, which is why she lived to be 90. Otherwise, she would have died at 83. The reason is she fell, fractured her lower spine, and we had to arrange to put her in assisted living. And in the assisted living she was in, they would not allow any alcohol. So my mom had to quit drinking and she was ticked off. Let me tell you, she was not a happy camper. But the doctor had already told her that if she had continued drinking, she would have been dead in 6 months. That's how much damage she was doing. So she lived another 7 years, wasn't happy about it. Well, she was when the year she turned 90. She actually was happy about turning 90. I remember that. But yeah, no, she wasn't drinking when she died. Okay. Okay, yes. So here I got some things to get you to think about this whole thing of starting over. So first of all, and you guys can just chime in with a number. Okay, if you really think about it, how many times have you started over in your life? Now, I define starting over as a significant change in your life. So, for instance, you move to a new city, you start a whole new career, you get married, you get divorced, you become well, I wouldn't say become a parent. If you're already married and you become a parent, I kind of include that together. Maybe you go back to school in your 30s or 40s. Those are what I consider like real big starting over things. So think about how many times in your life you have started over. Okay. And then you share those in the chat and then we can discuss. Nicody, that's true. You're rarely happy when change is forced upon you. Absolutely. Yeah, that's really true. Okay. So about 7 times, somebody said at 72. I'm going to miss some of these. I'm sorry. I'm trying to, let me go back up here. 70. Okay. 5 times. La Dolce Vita said, um, Sheila says 8. Susie says I'm too many to count. I'm now 80. Okay. Starting over again. See, great name. At least 7. A lot of some busy bumblebee says too many to count. Tracy says at least 8. Elsie says at least 10. Violets and Roses 3. Sue 6. Oh my gosh, you guys are all doing this at once. I'm going to have a hard time going back and looking at all these. Okay. I'm trying to scroll up here. At least 10, 3. Sue says 6. Lydia 8. James 3 times. James, you're over 90? You only started over 3 times. Dude, you are very stable. Patricia says 5. Susan says 9. Okay. Kimber says 11. I love that it shows your name in color for me. I don't know if it shows it on your end, Kimber, but you're in green. Your name is in green on there. Carolina, 4 or 5. Nicody maybe twice. I don't know how old you are, Nicody, but that's very, very low number. Great Zaza, 7. Vanessa says several times in 31 years. Lucinda says 10. Florida RN 12. Yeah, I'd say 6, Catherine. It makes 6 if you are having, you're unemployed, because that's a big change. It means you have to try to start over in another way, potentially. HFC says 5, 7. It seems like an average of 7 or 8. I'm guessing for a lot of people. Anderson says 20 plus. Okay, you got me beat, and so does Ciara at 30. Okay. That's true, Royanne. A lot of people had to start over because of pandemic. Yeah. Muriel says only two. Susan says once, changed marital status, job, and where I lived at 53. Oh, you did that all in 1 year? Oh, goodness. Diana by the beach, I lost count. Well, you're starting over again now, Diana, because you got, you're working on the healing here. Lawrence, you wanted to move abroad until my experience? Is that what you're saying? I did not have a bad experience. Remember, I didn't go over there to move. It might have been a whole different thing if I'd been able to move over there. Oh, I know. Yes, I saw that. Pittsburgh, there was a huge apartment fire. Oh, goodness. Yeah, in Pittsburgh. That's the next state over from me. Yeah, well, Lawrence, it really depends. A lot depends as far as horror stories. I don't know. It depends on the person and the planning, but also just circumstance. There's so many factors that come into play. Yes, Una, I would go abroad again. If my income on YouTube ever increases to the point where I feel like I can comfortably do it, yeah, I would live overseas. I would live in Europe. I definitely would. There was nothing over there that made me feel like I wouldn't want to live there. I just had challenges with the slow travel aspect of it and the not having a home, not having this home base kind of feeling. That was what I realized. I think that was my big realization is I didn't know that that was going to bother me as much as it did, but it really did. But if I could have a place, get an apartment and be able to live there for, years, I'd be happy with that. And then just go off every couple of months and take a little 3-day trip somewhere. Yeah, I would love that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So do you guys want to know how many times I've had to start over? So I don't have the record because some of you said like 30 or plus, 30 plus. Okay. I started over 14 times. Now I combined a few things there. Like if I got if like I went to graduate school twice, but I made that one basically because it was close together. And I combined this year going to Europe and then moving here to Ohio. I combined that as one because it was all one big change, So anyway. Yeah, there you go. Work in the tulip fields, Lawrence. There you go. Sushi said she'd pick Bulgaria. Okay. Bulgaria has been very hot lately. I've been reading a lot of people that have bought these. I don't know if you've seen these on YouTube where they buy a home for like really cheap in Bulgaria, but it's like this ruin or something. And I'm thinking, man, if I were 30 years younger, I'm not sure I would tackle that, but yeah, that's true, Holland Jim. Once you're over there, that's my plan is to be somewhere fairly central that I can easily take like a 2 or 3 day trip somewhere on the train and just real easy, just take one bag with me and just be able to come back to my little home base. That would be my ideal situation. Okay, worth every kilometer traveled. I like that name. 11 times, and on the 11th time, I moved abroad. There you go. But again, we never know what's going to happen in life. I say I know I'm committed here for a year because I signed a lease, and obviously I'm going to stick to my lease. So, and I'm going to need that year. When you're going to see in the video coming up that there's a lot of healing. I call this my healing year or healing era. So I got to work on some healing and physically primarily, I would say, but also emotionally. And also, there's things I need to work on. And the only way I can really do them is to feel settled. So that's why I'm doing that. Devon, it is hard to make friends the older you get. I did a video on that a long time ago. Probably should revisit that topic, actually. Dakota says, I can't leave Ohio. It's like the Godfather, it keeps pulling me back in. Well, we'll see. We'll see how things look. I'm going to tell you one of my favorite little stories, guys, on here. Okay. Which is that, I don't know, you guys, how many of you, well, I don't know if everybody can chime in because I won't see all, it'll scroll by so fast I won't be able to keep track of it. But back in the 70s, the BBC made the series called Henry VIII and His 8 Wives, or whatever, 6 wives. Gosh, 8 wives. I just added 2 wives onto him. Anyway, Henry VIII and His 6 wives. And it was the actor Keith Mitchell, or Mitchell, not sure how it's pronounced. And it was a wonderful series. It was back when you could really see quality PBS programming like that and all that. But anyway, so anyway, I don't know why I'm laughing about it, but I always remember this story, and it really stuck with me because when we start hypothesizing about what could happen in a year, we have no idea. You can work for something and still something happens like you don't expect in your life, and it kind of derails things. So things don't always go according to plan. And so you never know a year from now. You never know how your health is going to be. You don't know what your financial situation is going to be, and all of that. Okay. So anyway, this story was, I think in the series, it was a story told to the king, Henry VIII. I think it was Jane Seymour, his third wife, who told him the story, because his leg was ulcerated and she was helping bandage his leg, and she was telling him this story, and it made him laugh. And I'm going to get some of it wrong because I haven't heard this in so long, but I always remembered it somehow. And well, then Holland Jim, you should recognize this story if you remembered it. So she said, well, there was a king of France, and he heard about this man in the kingdom who was going around telling everyone his horse could talk. And people thought he was just crazy or whatever, but it was getting really annoying. And so finally, the king had him arrested and put in prison, and basically with the horse, and basically said, enough about the horse learning to talk. You have 1 year to make that horse talk, to prove the horse can talk. And otherwise, that's it. You're going to be executed or whatever. I don't know exactly what the king threatened him with. I'm embellishing the story probably. Okay. So anyway, so the guy's in prison, and the other people that are in prison, he's worth the horse, but the horse still isn't talking. And so, but it's maybe a month has gone by, and the guy says, well, so one of the prisoners says to him, he goes, well, what are you going to do? He says, a year's going to come up, and you're going to, you're not going to make it or whatever. And then the guy says to the other fellow prisoner, he goes, well, in a year, many things could happen. He said, Louis could die. In other words, the king could die. He said, or the horse could die, or I could die, or the horse could talk. So the point of it is, first of all, you don't know what's going to happen in a year. And so in his mind, he was still, he was in prison, but he had food and he had a roof over his head and he had his horse. And his thinking was, I'm not going to freak out about this. So anyway, I just love that story. And in the way that she told it, it made Henry laugh, and so it kind of, helped to endear her to him, I guess. Anyway, well, yeah, Holland, because she was the wife that gave him a son, which was the thing, he wanted most in the world. So that's why. But then she died right after that because she got childbed fever and died of that. So, but yes, the point is, in a year, many things could happen. So, And I always remember that story when somebody says, "Oh, like, where, or do you plan to do this in a year, or do you, you know?" And I'm like, "Well, I hope to do that in a year, but a lot of things have to fall into place for that to happen." So that's the thing. Anyway, I don't know if that story, I don't know when they wrote that into the script, whether that was a story which was purported to have happened. Somebody must have heard that somewhere. It must have been some story from times past. But anyway, I just somehow that's the thing I probably most remember from that series. There you go, Nakoti. Or the horse could dig a tunnel and break you out of prison. Good one. Absolutely. I really thought it was great, because I thought it's true. I mean, very likely, who knows, the king could die, and very likely the horse could die. And if the horse died, what was the king going to do with him then? He wasn't going to execute him because the horse had died. So, in fact, probably the guy would have poisoned the horse before the end of the year, I'm guessing, just so he could save his life. Anyway, yeah, I just embellished the story again. There you go. Oh, James, boy, you're going crazy with those emojis. That's great. The music. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So let me give you some other things to think about on this whole starting over. Oh, first of all, we got to get those thumbs up there, guys. I met 374 people in there and only 153 likes. I just told you a great story from the BBC series, Henry VIII and his six wives. Let's boost those thumbs up, please. Maybe the Uno says maybe the Una says maybe the horse has started over 14 times too. Thanks, Peachy Keen. Yeah. Thank you guys. That's right. Keep hitting that like button. Ciara says, well, hopefully you'll recharge and heal. You'll find your spot. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to do a video. I'm letting myself settle in here first and kind of reset, recharge, regroup, renew, all the R words there. And I am going to do a video about the things that I really liked most about my experiences in Europe, and then, things that were really a challenge, of course. But overall, no, I really enjoyed my time. People that think I was miserable over there all the time, it's not true. I was not miserable all the time. I had lots of days I really enjoyed and experiences I really enjoyed. And I had some really yucky experiences. Mostly, I'd say things went downhill after I got the abscess, really, and had to change my plans. I think that was the thing that really started to derail me, not only physically, but psychologically. So, JK asks, which was the more challenging, living around Europe or living around the West Coast in your van? The Europe was harder. It was harder because, I mean, the van thing was challenging in a different kind of way. But I was younger, for one thing. And I think the Europe thing cumulatively was harder. So, yeah, and there's still people that come on and they try to say things like, "Oh, all you do is complain and stuff." I don't think they really listen to my whole videos, or don't think they really listen to my live streams, because for the most part, I don't complain the majority of the time. I actually try to always I look at things realistically and then try to spin it in a way that I can deal with it or cope with it, and I'm hoping that that's what transfers to people, but some people just don't see that when they watch my videos. I don't know why. Probably because there are a couple of really negative ones, I would guess. But anyway, our Stan says, "Oh, I'm sorry, your mom had schizophrenia." I know that is when you grow up with a parent who has severe mental illness, or SMI, basically. Um, that is that's got to be the hardest thing. I did not have that. As much as my mom was not okay in some respects. She didn't have that kind of mental illness, at least. So I appreciate that, but I know people. I've known people before who had parents with either like severe schizophrenia, which is really hard to treat, honestly, or even severe bipolar disorder, which also can be really hard to treat. And so, that's always difficult. Yes, Meowser. Yes, I do have a sense of humor. I got that from both my parents. My parents were not very much alike in their personalities, but the one thing they both had was a great sense of humor. And there was always laughter in our household. So I that is the thing I think that really grounds me and keeps me sane, is that I can laugh at things, even really scary things. I can really just sit and kind of detach from it and be able to just kind of laugh about it. Maybe not in the moment, but afterwards. Nakoti, no, I'm not into the football thing anymore, but thanks. I used to be really into football when I was young. Oh man, I knew all about football. I got my son interested in football. It wasn't his dad. His dad didn't watch any sports. I was the one that watched like football and baseball. I took him to his first Major League Baseball game in person, my son, when he was little. So I was the one that got him into that. And I was really into that at one time, but I'm just not, I, I changed over time, just not into it. Yeah, CR, I think too. I think, that my viewers who live in the UK and Ireland and Scotland and Australia, they all get my humor because they have kind of this dry, sarcastic kind of wit to them. But yeah, I don't think some people get it, that humor is a way of coping and it is a way of dealing with bad things. And so sometimes you have to laugh about things because you're either going to laugh or cry. And actually, you could do both. So okay. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted you guys to think about on now. A bunch of you I know said that you were starting over now, like something was changing in your lives. So, the thing that I think about is, what does it take inside of us to be a person that starts over? So why don't you chime in and give me some character traits of a person that you think is really like would be good at starting over. In other words, they're going to have a better chance of success when they start something new in their life. So, give me some of your thoughts on like what kind of person is that? Yeah, I'd say humor. I'll just add that one right away since you guys are talking about it already. So let's see, we get curiosity, desperation, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, adaptability, optimistic, humility, adaptable and flexible, risk takers, resilience, always researching the next thing, gratitude, willing to take a chance. I'm just doing these fast so I can get them. Resilience, fearless, rich person. Hey, to some degree, that's true. Resilience is a good quality. Let's see. Respectful, adventurous, determined, resilience. A lot of people said resilience. Don't have a major fiscal issue. Someone who always wants to learn. Yeah, I think that kind of goes hand in hand with the curiosity, which I also think is a good one. Resourcefulness, adventurous, brave, open-minded, self-motivated. I'm just reading a bunch of these. Humor, tenacious, yeah, tenacity, or perseverance, somebody who perseveres. Desperation, yeah, well, often there is desperation. I don't know about that, Una. I don't think of somebody starting over as somebody who gets bored easily. I don't get bored. So I've started over quite a bit of my life, but it's not because of boredom. I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm just saying I don't resonate with that. Lynn Marie says restless spirit. Did I miss something bad with Bonnie Rose? What happened? I know all these people are chiming in. Uh-oh. What happened with Bonnie? Yes, being an only child, I think, or at least like I felt like an only child, even though I wasn't. I think there is something to that. Flexibility. I'm just trying to reach new ones here now. Patience. Um, someone who can go with the flow. Someone not Nicody says someone not tired and worn down by life. Yeah, okay, that brings me to another point I'm going to make after this, Nicody. That's a good one. Let's see. Italian jeans. Maybe. I don't know. Have to be a bit crazy. Think out of the box. Meowser says. Keep moving, James says. Oh, her husband died. Oh, I'm so sorry, Bonnie. I missed it. I'm sorry I missed it. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Pamela, for telling me. Um, avoid getting stuck, health, divorced, focused. Yeah, focused is good, John. Courage. Yeah, you guys all, yeah, those are all great. That's, I think for myself, I don't have all those qualities. I have some of those qualities. I don't think too many people probably have all of them, but oh, I like that one, La Dolce Vita. Not afraid to make a fool of yourself. That is a big one. People don't really take that one into consideration, but that is a big one. A lot of people don't take a chance with, like, I mean, they may have to start over, they're forced to start over in some way, but they don't want to take a big chance because A, they're afraid they're going to look like a fool, or they're afraid that people are going to make fun of them, or all of everything associated with that. And I wish people wouldn't feel that way, because you know what? So many times people don't do things because they're afraid of that. And the thing is that's one thing I've never really been that afraid of my whole life, which is, I think, why I was able to take chances more than maybe just the average person. Because I just didn't, yeah, I just didn't really care if people disapproved of me, or people thought I was, how many people thought I was crazy when I went to Europe? I actually had a few people before I ever went said, "Oh, you'll never go. You'll never even do this." Like, okay. So I did. So, but a lot of people were, mocking me that I was being an idiot. And it's like, I don't care that you think I'm an idiot. I know I'm not an idiot. I know I'm going to make mistakes. I know I'm going to have problems like every person does. But yeah. And Cody, you're right. Being in better health with stable income definitely helps you start over. No question. I mean, that's just practical. It's easier. It was harder. It was hard doing this year because my health wasn't as good. And it got worn down by this process. And although I had enough money to get through most of it, it was still hard, because I didn't have that big buffer that you'd like to have. So, but then if I had never done it, what if I died next year, like the horse, Just- and then I had never had that experience. I wouldn't have wanted that. Hey, I have to say a big hi to Jean-Marc. You're back in my live stream. Welcome. I hope you're feeling better. We were all concerned about you. Absolutely. I know here and over on Jeff the Expat's channel, like, we were so concerned when you had to go in the hospital. So I hope you're okay. It's the horse dead. The horse from the story of, like, yeah. Hi Bronwyn, welcome in. Well, we're probably going to go about 5-10 more minutes. It is kind of at the tail end. Oh, Tim, I will definitely try again as long as the money is there. Now I know how much, now I have a better idea of exactly how much I would need to, and again, I'm not going to tell you where. I already kind of know where I want to go live, but I'm not going to talk about it until it's actually like a reality of like that's going to really happen. But I know how exactly how much it's going to take to make that happen. So unless I make enough on YouTube to, save enough to do that, I'm not going to be able to do that. That's just the bottom line. So anyway. Sharon, thank you. And I am enjoying my new place. Bare as it is, it's it's pretty bare. And I know, oh gosh, so many of you want me to like, they're like, oh, you need to make it real cozy and comfy, which I will do to a point. But it's time to live a little differently. That's how I view it. I've always had a knack for making my places really comfortable and cozy. In fact, the social services coordinator where I lived last, at the place. And, we were friendly and stuff. I always had a good relationship with her. Um, oh, thank you, Kimber. That's very kind. But anyway, she often said to me, she goes, when I have new people that move in, I keep telling them about your apartment. Like she didn't show my apartment, but she said I kept telling him how you really made that apartment like a reflection of yourself. Like it's not just like a sterile, oh, here's a sofa and a chair and a coffee table and like a couple of, random, paintings on the walls or something like that. She said, you just have a knack of making it your own, which I do. I just always have been able to do that, but it's going to be on a scaled back level here. It just is. I just don't want to accumulate a lot of stuff. I just don't. That's right, Devon. Kimber is green because she became a member. Thank you. Jean Marc, did you say so? You are doing much better. Good. Homer in Ohio. Who's Homer? Is that Simpson? The Simpsons? Is that a reference to the Simpsons? Well, this is my Sierra. That is my life right now. Yes, YouTube could completely disappear and then all would be over. But, let's hope that doesn't happen. It's been around, what, 15 years? More than that. It's been around more than 15 years. So I think YouTube is not going away immediately. I think it might last my lifetime. That's all I need it to do. So it is like old times, Jean Marc. It is The Simpsons. Thank you. Because you know what? I don't watch The Simpsons anymore. I used to watch The Simpsons, but I have not really seen The Simpsons in a long time. So, Rhonda, thank you for telling people. We'll see, Darius. I have to work on my health first. I honestly could not get a part-time job. Well, first of all, I don't have a car. So I'm not getting a part-time job like where I have to go somewhere. And my health just wouldn't support that right now. But I don't know about anything else online. It's possible. I'm trying to diversify. Trying to diversify. And now that I'm back in the US, I might be able to get some more sponsorships or I only had one sponsor that I chose before I left the US. So I'm hoping to get maybe sponsorships and that'll increase my income too. But as long as I can, I know exactly how much I need to save to basically make that leap to live overseas. So I now had, at least I learned a lot in this process and figured that out. So yes, and YouTube is my part. The people that I have a lot of people that do say things like, well, just get a part-time job. This is my job. I make more money at this than I make at Social Security. Okay. So this is my job. Sushi's asking what's wrong with my health other than I've got really bad, my lower tummy has been a mess off and on for months, but it got really bad after getting COVID. And it really, you just, so Devon, thank you. Uh, no, the ads, I don't really, yeah. No, well, I don't know what you're asking about the ads, Lisa, but no, the ads, I mean, obviously that's the way I make money on a live stream for the most part. That's the majority of what I make is through ads. So, but I don't do the most amount of ads. You can do like max ads, and I don't do that. So, anyway, yeah, buffered a bit. I think it's back now. Yeah, thank you, Pamela J. I know, Jean-Marc. It's like it really has great timing, doesn't it? Well, anyway, I just want to like start wrapping it up, but oh gosh, Diana, that's not good. Anyway, well, not quite well. I'm still not making I'm not making I'm still low income. Okay? I'm not low income, but I'm not poverty level anymore, but I'm still low income because I don't make a lot of social security. So, especially since they take out $185 a month for Medicare Part B, which is just joyful. Uh, yeah, you have to have a car, Devon. Absolutely. No, Una, not at all. Not even a not even close. Jesus. Um, thanks, Carter. I don't know what you mean by chimney. Thank you, though. Yeah, I don't even do free streaming on YouTube. I watch a lot of other channels. I support a lot of the other channels with being at least subscribing to them and watching their content and doing likes and stuff like that. But I don't I just deal with the ads. I mean, I just have to deal with the ads. And it is getting worse on YouTube. They are putting more and more ads up. That's absolutely for sure. So no, T-Cash. I consulted with the insurance person, and I already know they don't cover because I don't qualify for Medicaid. I do make too much for Medicaid, but other than that, I don't make a lot more. I don't make a lot above the threshold. So, um, we have a alarm here. I just missed that. Thank you, John Mark. Oh, that's nice, Kimber. Yeah, I'm well, but see, I only want to do sponsorship for a product that I really like. And so I get a lot ever since I got back to the US. It's like for some reason when I was in Europe, I didn't get hardly any offers. It was weird. But it was fine because I knew I couldn't really get things in the mail from companies or whatever and do that easily. So, but now that I'm back here, I notice I am getting more offers, but a lot of it is just not something, that I feel like I want to do. So we'll just see. We'll see. No. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at some of the comments here. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap it up. So think about, if some of you are starting over, I wish you the best. Think about all the characteristics you guys brought up about what you think really helps people when they start over. Like I said, I'm probably going to do a deeper dive on this on a regular dedicated video. But a reminder, I will not have a video out tomorrow, but it should come out Thursday. So hi Lydia. Yeah, Susan, I think she had a problem. I think there was some problem in yeah, but that's really sad that she has to come back to the US to renew it. Okay. I don't, Nakoti, but I watch local stuff on my computer, so I don't have a TV. Oh, it's a lot more yeah, I thought it was Jean-Marc. I heard about it from Jeff, and, so, yeah. But anyway, I hope she gets her visa. So anyway, I will be, there will be a video out Thursday. That is my lamp there, by the way, that weird, like, white thing here. This is my lamp. It's like it's a LED. I like LED lights because they're really good for being able to see things. So anyway. Okay, so anyway, have a great rest of your week. Look for my video on Thursday, and then I'll have another live stream on Saturday at 1. So still 1 o'clock Eastern. So anyway, thanks so much for being here and participating. Let's just get 3 more likes there. Can we do 3 more likes from people? Jean-Marc, did you do your like yet? Minnie the Chihuahua says bye. Anyway, bye everyone. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon. And be kind and keep moving forward. Take care. Bye.